Ashley Head.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I appreciate you taking time to do this.
No doubt. I always make time for you, brother.
Okay, okay. So one of these days, you and I are going to meet actually face to face
In real life, we will.
in real life and actually do this. You know, we supposedly both live in San Diego, but we wouldn't actually know until we get out on one of these freeways and go see.
Exactly.
You know, but I appreciate you coming and spending a little bit of time with me to have this conversation.
No
So,
doubt.
you know, we talked about it already, but this is meant to be an illustration of Black excellence in San Diego, uh,
Absolutely.
Black men in particular, and watching all that you were doing in both your professional and your social space. I think when I first talked to you, I got off the phone, I was like, baby, this dude, this
Two
man.
different people. Two different people, right?
Meet this cat right here. He's moving at a whole other level. I don't know what's happening. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm pleased to be having this conversation, recording this conversation, and for other people to benefit from your story and your journey. So, the way this typically goes is, you know, I ask you a question like, you know, what takes up the majority of your time and energy, and you can choose to answer that however you want to. And then we'll talk about how you came to be doing this, and then we'll talk about, you know, where you're trying to go, what you know the future looks like for you in your mind. So,
Okay.
so if we were in the backyard,
At
you know,
the cookout, not the barbecue,
cookout.
the cookout. We have the
No,
cookout.
the
Different
cookout.
situation. Barbecue cookout.
Okay. Oh, how do you translate that? What's the difference to you?
If you at the barbecue, you with say white folks. At the cookout, you at the cookout, you with your kinfolk.
All right, all
Different.
right,
It's
all right.
different.
I
So we at
understand.
the cookout. We sitting in lawn chairs at the cookout.
Okay. Yes, I understand. So we're at
Okay.
the cookout. You have something in your hand. We're hanging out. I sit down. Hey, man, my name is Matthew.
Hey, what's up, Matthew?
How you doing? What
What's
takes
going on,
up?
brother? Cheers. What's up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm drinking water right now, man. It's fucking
Exactly.
hot up here. Um, what takes up most of your time and energy?
Man, well, most of my time and energy is spent with my wife and three kids.
Hmm.
You talking about how I make money with my time and energy?
Take it how you
Well,
want to.
9 to 5, I am a associate director of clinical operations at an MEI Pharma, which is a biotech here in California.
Yeah.
An oncology biotech. So we study drugs in humans, cancer drugs in humans, to see if we can find efficacy to eventually lead to a cure in blood cancers.
Wow.
So that's my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But then my 5 to 9, meaning 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. I'm the CEO of Curls Poppin, which is a natural hair product company. We have all the tools and liquid products you need to style and maintain and moisturize your natural hair.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, so I have Curls Poppin, and we have a few other companies, but that takes up most of my time.
My goodness. Okay, so whew, there's a couple lanes. Those are two very meaty topics to get into, and you know, I'll never forget once I had this conversation with you and saw you in this iteration in your 9 to 5 persona, and then I
Yep.
saw your TikTok persona. I'm about to flash that on here, and about this point in the interview, I was like, oh man, this cat right here, you know, you do a Clark
Code
Kent
switch.
Superman thing, you know.
We call that code switching, right?
Code switcheroo, man. So walk me through how you can let's work with the 9 to 5 first. So how did that come to be? You know, you're in ClinOps in pharmaceutical drug development. What led to
Okay,
that?
so what does that even mean? So
Yeah.
when I was in high school, I wanted to be an OBGYN. So I got into Morehouse College my sophomore year of high school, went to Morehouse College, got a bachelor's degree in chemistry.
Yeah.
And with that, you normally take your MCAT your junior year of college, and then
Yeah.
you start applying to medical school your senior year. Well, I didn't apply. I didn't take the MCATs until my senior year. I paid for a Kaplan class, took my MCATs. I did really well. If the perfect score was like 45, I got like a 41. It was just really good. So independent student with no parents, no financial support because all my parents are deceased. I had emailed the chief OBGYN at Baylor College of Medicine that year when I graduated in February before I graduated. And I told her, I'm taking the MCAT next month. I'd love to come and work for you for a year, kind of understand the field while I'm applying to medical school. and then I want, just want to know if I could just like learn everything from you in that year. She never responded to my email, that February email. So when I graduated, didn't know what I was doing, didn't have any support. So I started working at a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
University from Morehouse College, and I'm working at the old spaghetti factory in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
July that summer, I got a phone call, and it was on my landline. I answered. It was Dr. Laura Gutto. Said, Ashley, this is Dr. Laura Gutto at Baylor College of Medicine, the chief OBGYN. You sent me an email in February, and I want you to know I just got a grant, and I can actually pay a research assistant for 1 calendar year. Would you be interested? Because I thought about who would I interview for this job, and you emailed me in February saying you love my work. I don't even need to meet you. You're hired.
Wow.
I said, I'll be there when. She said, you're in Atlanta, but I need you here next week. I sold everything in my apartment, even my car. I flew to Texas, got an apartment. That next Tuesday, I was at Baylor College of Medicine introducing myself to her. And I worked with her for 1 year. But the thing is, in applying to medical school, when you apply, like $75 to say Meharry, if they like you, a week, couple weeks, or a month later, they're gonna say, "Hey, Ashley, you're granted an interview. You need to be here next Tuesday."
Mm-hmm.
I did that one time, and that's what happened to Meharry. And I was like, I didn't have money to go fly, I didn't have money to get hotel, I didn't have money to get clothes to go to the interview.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very sad reality for me as an independent student. Here I am, 21 years old, first started college. MCAT scores are great, degree in chemistry from Morehouse. I didn't have money to fly to a medical school interview.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, well, you can get another job to make more money. I'm like, I got this second job, ended up being a manager at this store called The Buckle in the Houston Galleria Mall.
Mm-hmm.
She said, you can use that money to apply to medical school. I had to use that money to pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
And so just like that, the year passed. I saw 200 babies being born in her clinical research. I would, she would cut the umbilical cord. I would get everything, the placenta, take it to the lab, cut it. I do all these things. It was great. I learned so much. I saw 200 babies come into the world. And after a year, when her research was ending, she said, Ashley, you have perfect bedside manner. You're smart. But if I were you, just to be honest, this year with me was called clinical research. If I were you, I would get a master's and I would become an executive at a pharmaceutical company. You make way more money. You get 2 weeks vacation a year, and you have quality of life. I have a 6-year-old and 8-year-old, and I don't know them. I regret it. I love the job. I regret the decision that I'm here 60 hours a week. So long story short, she referred me to a job. I got to clinical research that summer, became like a data entry person. A year later, and I was working contracts. A year later, got to clinical I became a clinical coordinator, and I moved up to data management. And long story short, I ended up at Pfizer in New York City. Worked there for 4 years, and Pfizer is the #1 pharmaceutical company in the world. And I was one of the project managers on the Viagra study. Before Viagra was released, I was one of the project managers watching side effects that helped to get that drug approved. So from there, I realized
I'm resisting all the various jokes I would tell right then. I'm just gonna pretend,
exactly,
I don't know what that's all about. I'm just gonna let that breeze on by. We can talk about it later.
So I stayed in clinical research in New York City. Then I ended up working as a consultant for 5 years. It took me internationally. I went to Canada and worked in 2015. Long story short, it brought me to San Diego, where I'm an executive at a pharmaceutical company, MEI Pharma, where I am, managing clinical trials in humans, global clinical trials all over the world.
What year was that you got here?
I moved here in 2015, October.
Got it. Wow. And how was that transition?
You know what? It was mind blowing. I mean, from living in Manhattan and the Bronx, New York City, I drove to California in my car. And I told myself I would only live here like 6 months. So I left a fully furnished apartment in New York City. I said I would live here 6 months as a consultant. You get a job just like that. You just pop up in the city and apply and you have a job. So I said I'd do that. I got a job within a week of being here. And I ended up being at
wait. So you didn't come for the job. You came and said, that's just where I want to be and I'm going to get a job.
That's exactly what I did.
Oh, wait, no. I know why you came. Wait, hold on. You didn't come for nothing. You came for somebody.
I came because somebody was here.
All right. All right.
But when I came, I knew I would come and I would find a job once I got here.
Sure.
I mean, with no leads. And see, the funny thing is, I said, you know what, I'm going to go to LA and stay with my friend and interview for some jobs in LA and be an hour and a half away from my soon-to-be fiance wife.
Yeah.
But what happened was I interviewed that week. I arrived on a Sunday in LA. I interviewed at 4 jobs that week. And
Yeah.
that Thursday night, I got a phone call. Not only was Lindsay arriving in San Diego, but the phone call was Abbott Molecular in Carlsbad. They said, hey, Ashley, we see your resume says open to consulting in LA. One thing about it is we're in San Diego. Would you be open to interviewing with us? I said, you know what? My girlfriend is just arriving in San Diego. I'm coming down there tonight. I'll bring my suit and interview with you tomorrow. But if I do interview, I have to know if I got the job that day if I'm going to consider it. And guess what? Bold, right?
Look
You got
at
to be
you.
bold. I did my interview, and within an hour of me leaving the interview, I got a call saying I got the job in San Diego. So, needless to say, I did not go back to LA. I moved in with my girlfriend. Said, "Can I stay with you? I got a job." We've been together ever since. The rest is history.
Oh,
Month
man.
later, engaged.
Man.
The next summer, married in Paris.
Oh my God. Married in Paris. See, this is what I was talking about. This is the sort of thing I was talking about. I was like, is this dude where'd he come from? What's his story? So this is me now doing this research to figure you out, man. Okay, so I'm gonna put a pin in that for just a minute, because that by itself, I need to come back to how you were even interested in OBGYN in the first place. You said both your parents passed. There's all sorts of things in there, bold moves, emails, just all of this initiative and drive. I don't know where that's coming from. But now walk me across the Curls Poppin.
So Curls Poppin. So it's 2011. I'm in New York City. Just got off work. It's a Friday. Every Friday back then, we got paid every Friday at Pfizer. I would go to Zara, go to Century 21, buy myself a shirt, a sweater. So I'm shopping in Century 21. My hair's in a ponytail in the back, and I'm looking through these sweaters. And these two women with these giant curly afros come up and tap me, and they're like, "Hey, how are you?" I was like, "Hey, how are you?" They were like, "Have you ever heard of this company called?" First of all, is that your hair? I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Anything in it?" It's like, "No, it's natural." It said, "Have you ever heard of a company called Miss Jessie's?" I was like, "You know what? Now that you mention it, this ghetto girl, my job said her daughter's hair wasn't growing, so she used this product, this curly pudding from Miss Jessie's, and it made her daughter's hair grow. So yeah, I've heard about it." She said, "Would you ever use it?" I'm like, the way she talks about their product, yeah, I use it. Why? We're the CEOs. I was like, "You're what?" Like, "We're the CEOs. We're the CEOs, Miko and Titi." I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God." It's like, "We're the CEOs of Miss Jessie's."
Wow.
They say, so the reason we stopped you is because, people on YouTube are starting to do how-to videos, and we want to be one of the first companies to do like a how-to video on how to use our product, our hair product.
Yeah.
I said, "Sure, I'll do it." So that was in December. January of 2009, I ended up doing a how-to video on how to use their product. So it was one of her first how-to videos of a hair product, and it's on YouTube. So I became a hair model in 2011. So I'm working at Pfizer during the day, and like every week or every other week, they call and say, "Hey, Ashley, this Friday, can we fly you to Philadelphia to this hair event and pass our product?" "Sure." "Ashley, this Friday, can you fly to Atlanta and pass our product?" I was like, "Sure." So I became like this traveling brand rep for Miss Jessie's hair products. So I did that, and they would tell me how to take care of my hair, wash it. "Ashley, make sure you're sleeping in a satin sleep cap. Ashley, make sure you're moisturizing your hair." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I did that for like 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
And that was that. Still close with them, still sending happy birthdays and Merry Christmas, etc.
Yeah.
But there's a gap that I noticed that they did not want to cater to.
Yeah.
And that gap was that they have liquid products. I said, "You know what, you guys needed some tools."
Yeah.
But I never said anything past that. I just kind of, tools meaning combs and shower caps and all these other things.
Yeah.
So I dropped it. Life goes on. I'm living in San Diego, and I'm in New York City visiting. Lindsay's working, so we're in a hotel 2017. And I was washing my hair, and I grabbed the shower cap to condition it, and the shower cap would not fit over my head. So I said, "Babe," I opened up the door, I said, "Babe, this funny, right? This shower cap won't even fit over my head." She said, "Babe, you're a scientist. Why don't you just make one?" And the light went off. I said, "You're right." I saw on Shark Tank or something, they said your $1 million business is the answer to a problem you're having. So I said, "You know what? I'm going to Google jumbo or large shower caps." I could not find one for the life of me. So I said, "Man, it'd be great to create my own." So I created a large PVC shower cap. And what makes my shower cap unique is that it's extra large, made out of PVC, it's antimicrobial, and it has a little hook that you can hang it on in your bathroom and not poke through your shower cap. So I created my shower cap in the fall 2017. In June 2018, I saw there was a trade show in Atlanta, Georgia for the Ultimate Women's Expo, June 2018. So I was like, babe, can we go there and sell the shower cap for like $5 a shower cap? She said, you know, we can totally go with thousands of these shower caps, but for me to really support you, you need to create some other things around it, and then we can go. So I said, well, I know I used to sleep with a satin like bonnet or sleep cap, but when I sleep with a satin bonnet or sleep cap on my pillow, I wake up in the morning, the sleep cap's on the floor, the bonnet's on the floor, it doesn't work. So I was like, you know what? I should get a satin pillowcase. And then that, you know, sometimes comes off the pillowcase. I was like, you know what? I have the solution. It's called the satin sleep set, where I'll have a bonnet, and if it comes off, I'm still sleeping on a pillowcase with a zipper, so the pillowcase doesn't come off the zipper. We'll call it the Curls Poppin satin sleep set. I came up with the name Curls Poppin in there, and I trademarked it, so my company name is trademarked. So I created a satin sleep set and the Curls Poppin large PVC shower cap. We took that to Atlanta. We sold products every 2 minutes and 1 second for 48 hours straight, Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Every 2 minutes and 1 second, someone lined up to say, I want a shower cap. I want a sleep set. I want a shower cap. That was my intro into the market. I said, well, the market has spoken. I got to build this thing out.
Wow.
Long story short, that somebody from CVS reached out to me and said, Ashley, can we talk about your product? We saw that you did some social media saying you sold so much at the Ultimate Women's Expo. We'd love to meet you. This was, I mean, the expo was a Saturday and Sunday in June. They reached out to me on Monday, said, could I be in Connecticut on Wednesday? I bought a flight. I went to Connecticut. I met with CVS. I said, here's my product, the Curls Poppin satin sleep set and the Curls Poppin shower cap. They said, you know, we love your products, but you need to build it out some more. And I was like, well, what do you want? They said, you need liquid products. Well, I was like, why? They said, well, if you only have the tools, people will get their credit card, they'll buy your tools, and since they're so good, they'll never come back. So it's not good for a business.
Yeah.
So I sat on that for 2.5 years until the pandemic. And I said, you know what? It's time. In the meantime, between 2018 and 2020, I tested over 50 different brands. Didn't like any of them. Created my own mixture. And in August 2020, came out with Curls Poppin liquid products. And within a month, I was on Amazon and we're selling like hotcakes.
So this isn't normal. So all of what you just said is some like against all odds. So so oh my Lord, okay. Why are you like this? So where is this coming from?
You know, the fire within. I know there's so many things that I want in life, including generational wealth, meaning I want to get the wealth for myself, enjoy it, and then pass it on to my kids and teach them how to enjoy it. So I'm creating it on my own. Creating it. It's life I want to live.
So you think you were just born this way then? I mean, what? Because remind me, okay, take me back now, because I know, you know, you're not coming out of a silver spoon situation where, you know, some folks come out because they see it all around them, so they have no other reference, and they're like, sure, I can do this because my whole family does this, my whole environment does this. As I recall, your whole environment wasn't doing this.
You know what? I am literally an anomaly from my environment. I'm an anomaly in this world because, you know, you take it back. I was born to mother and father. Dad's an architect. Mom's a teacher. You know, I have my brother who was born in '69. He was 12 years old. Another brother in '79. He was 2 years old. It's 1981. Mom had her tubes tied. It's May of '81. She's like, babe, I don't know what's going on, but my stomach really hurts, and it hurts more than usual. You need to take me to the hospital. This is just not normal. So they go to the hospital, May of '81. The doctor says, I have great news and I have good news and great news. I said, what's the good news? There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. She said, okay, well, my stomach hurts so bad. What's the great news? You're going to be a mom in 2 months. It was me. Wow. So this was May, June, August 2nd, '81. I was born. And I was born to mommy, daddy, and 2 older brothers. One's 2 years older, one's 12 years older. So, you know, life starts out pretty normal. But at 2 weeks old, at 2 in the morning, while my oldest brother was spending the night at a friend's house, she woke up and she said, babe, I have a headache. And this headache is worse than ever before. You got to take me to the hospital. He said, well, our oldest son is at a friend's house spending the night. She said, tell him to come home. This is a Black mother having her 12-year-old keep a 2-year-old and a 2-week-old. Who does that? She said, we got to go to the hospital. He has to figure it out. We'll be back, babe. So oldest brother comes home, keeps the babies, including a 2-week-old, me, a 12-year-old boy keeping a 2-year-old. That's how bad it was. They go to the hospital, they check in, he parks some weird way, brings her to the emergency room, and they say, someone needs to move this red Cougar license plate, blah, 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 blah. He said, babe, I love you. Mwah. I'll be right back. I'm going to move the car. He went and moved the car. He came back, and my mother, his wife, had already slipped into a coma. She died 4 hours later of an aneurysm. So he was left in that moment in August of 81 to raise 3 boys on his own because his wife, his beloved wife, they've been together since he was a senior in high school and she was a junior in high school. He went to the military when he graduated, sent her a ring and a letter her senior year to get married. She graduated June of 68. They got married in July 16th, 68. And I know the date because my oldest brother, Erskine, was conceived on July 16th, 68, their wedding day, and was born August 16th, 69. April 16th, 69. Exactly 9 months to the day of their marriage, my oldest brother was born. He was conceived on their wedding night.
Wow.
So my father, the love of his life, been married 12 years, 13 years, lost his wife, and went into a deep, dark depression. I'll tell you a little bit about that. 2 weeks later, the funeral, a week and a half, whatever later, the funeral was, we're in Dayton, Ohio. The funeral was in Birmingham, Alabama. He took her down to Alabama. That's where they met. She was buried. And when she was buried, her mom was like, babe, what you can do? He said, I'm going to go to the house, get ready for like the big dinner, the Passover and dinner. My father put his 3 boys in the car, drove to Dayton, Ohio. He turned that phone off and never talked to them for the rest of his life. He cut the entire family off. His side, I know nothing about. My mother's side, I barely know them. The first 3 years of my life, my dad, how a little girl has her favorite teddy bear, my dad had the blinds closed. He had me on his hip until I was almost 3 years old. He wouldn't let another human touch me. So it's so strange that I'm not this antisocial, autistic acting, unsocialized person, but my father was clinically depressed. He sent the oldest to school. He had the younger 2 at home, but he held me every day of my early years of my life. I was not on the ground throwing a ball or walking around in a walker. I didn't even have one or a high chair because my dad held me until I was basically 3 years old. Mm. I didn't know my mother existed. He threw away, hid all pictures. The way I found out moms exist, I was in kindergarten, and Michelle Youngblood, who's my Facebook friend to this day, we're drawing pictures of our family. I drew a man, big brother, other brother, me in our house. She drew herself, her brother, her dad, and then this stick dad with a triangle bottom half is what I said. Who's that stick dad with the triangle bottom half? She elbowed me. She said, that's not a stick dad, fool. That's my mother. Everybody has a mother. I said, what is that? My first day of kindergarten, I said, what's a mother? The teacher came over, you know, mother. I was like, no, it's mother. They're, girls like her. I was like, I didn't get the concept. She wrote a note, put it on my chest. I walked home with my dad, and he took it off and read it. And I remember sitting on the floor, with my legs crossed, and I looked up, and he read it and started laughing. I was like, well, he said, your teacher trying to tell me to explain what a mother is. You don't have a mother, fool. You were left on the porch by a stork, and you were crying so loud, I thought you would wake the neighbors, so I decided to raise you myself.
No way.
I didn't understand what that was. I was like, oh, okay.
So intentionally, the whole concept, he just didn't even want to go in there.
No, there was no television. There was no cable. We had books and we had dad. Mm. So he had taken off for like my early years, 1 through 4. Mm. And when I was about 4, right before kindergarten, he went back to work. Mm. And by 7,
architect?
Yeah, it was architect. Mm. So by 7, my oldest brother's like high school playing football, trying to be normal, but had a graduate like a 0.8 GPA or 1.8, something low. Mm. So he was still there, but just wilding out, staying out late, working at McDonald's. My dad would take his money. It was just a weird situation. But by the time I was 7, my dad got into drugs. Crack was big. Mm-hmm. We're in Dayton, Ohio. My house wasn't just a normal house. My house that I grew up in was the trap house, the crack house, where all the drugs were Bubba and Big Mike and Lil Joe and Reggie and the slut whore Veronica and the whore Sandy and the whore Kim and Veronica's sister Karen would come. Our house was the crack house. They knock on the door. I say, you owe me $1 to get in here. I'm 7, 8 years old. Can you give me $1? And we'll get dollars where people coming in. We went to poverty. The lights would be electricity in Dayton, Ohio would be out for 4 or 5 months at a time. The water would be turned off in the winter and the lights would be off. We would melt buckets of snow, come in and melt the snow over fire and drink it, and also put it in the bathtub and just let it get to room temperature, which could be 60 degrees, and take baths in it, standing up with a bar of soap, kind of washing ourselves once a week, maybe, if that, together, my brother and I, Anthony. Between ages 8 and 11, I remember every single Saturday, most people were going to gymnastics and karate and swimming and et cetera, et cetera. My brother and I would get on our bikes with our zipped up jackets, no matter what the temperature was. We'd ride our bike to the grocery store, and we would say, we synchronize our little cheap Sony watches, whatever kind of watches we had, and some kind of watch. We synchronize our watch and say, we got 4 minutes, go. This is an 8 and 10-year-old. We go in the grocery store and drop food. You see, just drop food in our jackets. Drop food, just as much as you could. Just drop it in your shirt. Just drop it. Just drop food in. 4 minutes is up. Come outside. Hop on your bikes. Don't look back. Ride home. The game was, when you get home, 1, 2, 3. Unzip your jacket. Let the food fall out. Whoever has the most food gets to get the best thing out of the other person's stash. That was the food for the week. We also got food at the park across the street at 5 o'clock every day. There was nothing to do but homework. We didn't have any electricity, a video game, Nintendo. We get it, the crackheads are still a month later when the lights were on. But most of the time, the lights were out when I was little. So we just come home before it got dark. We do our homework because there's nothing else to do. And then when it got dark, we would go to sleep at 7:30, 8, and we wake up naturally around 6. So we were never late to school to get up and make sure we went to school to eat. And school was like our thing because there was nothing else to do but school to get our food. So we're going to go there and thrive. And like I said, there was nothing to do at home. There's no distractions. We do our homework. Hence, the good grades came. Here we are, people think we got good grades and have good parents. And my dad's a crackhead. He was always home, never gone. But he was always high. He was always smoking. And one time when I was like 12 years old, he was in the window with his pen. I could see the silhouette. It was dark and the lights shining. I said, "Dad, what are you doing?" He was kind of teary-eyed. He said, "I miss your mom." Every time I would come home from school, I would say, "Dad, how was your?" He said, "How's your day, Ashley?" I'm like, "Day was good. How about you?" "I miss your mom." His answer to "How was your day?" was, "I miss your mom," until I was 19 years old. But the story turns very crazy. When I was a freshman in high school, my brother was a junior, and the oldest brother, 12 years older, he's in the military, he's gone. We've lost contact for like 10 years. We thought we did. He would send letters and money and everything to the neighbor. My dad would get it, and just like The Color Purple, he'd rip it up or throw it away, put it in the box. We never knew. He said, "Your big brother doesn't love you. He left you." So my freshman year of high school, Anthony was a junior. My brother, who's 2 years older, my dad and him had agreed that he'd get money for the junior prom. It's the end of my freshman year. It's the end of his junior year. My dad gave him $180. He expected $300. They started to argue. I leave to go to school. I'm gonna start after this school, and I do the announcements and everything. I'm kind of making my way. 7th period, the police come. I'm in there doing the afternoon announcements, and I'm like, "Yes, sir. Can we help you? Welcome to Dunbar High School." He's like, "We're looking for Ashley Head." I'm like, "I am Ashley Head." They said, "Can you get your stuff and go?" I said, "I'm running a regional track meet today." He was like, "Not today, you won't." He's like, "Come with me." So I get my stuff and I get in a police car. They take me to my apartment, and Anthony and my father had gotten into a confrontation that morning. My dad had shot all over with a gun all over our apartment because Anthony hit him in the face because he was mad about the money. Anthony went to school, told his principal, and the principal called Children's Services. We were removed from our home and put in foster care. That evening, I actually grabbed a bag. They told me to grab a bag. I locked the door, grabbed a bag. I jumped off the balcony and went and stayed at a friend's house and went to school the next day. The next day, they came and got me from school again and took me directly to my foster home. It was Daryl and Alva Favors, this big, nice, fat, jovial woman, Christian woman, chicken eating, smoking cigarettes, Coke drinking woman, and her husband Daryl, old football player who owned 5 homes and was very very masculine, very manly. Go out there with his chop wood and all that stuff. And they had 5 kids, and so we ended up being kid number 6 and 7, joining their home as teenagers. And the kids all like our age, like 12, 14, me. Anthony 16, their daughter was 17, same age, and have an older son and daughter. So it was a big old family. We came the 6th and 7th child. And the first night there, she said, I don't know how you've been raised, but in this house we believe in love, we believe in Jesus, and you will too. I didn't know who Jesus was. My dad was an atheist. My dad told me Jesus was not real. He told me, I said, well, what about how he died on the cross? He said Jesus was so exhausted that day, they put him on the cross and he passed out. That's how he woke back up 2 days later. I was like, well, what about his mother? He was immaculate conception. He said Jesus's mother, Mary, was a whore. She was cheating on her husband Joseph and went to the woods and got pregnant. I was like, okay, that's the story I had.
Oh,
We have the cookout. I'm telling you how it is, right? So we're living in this house. Anthony's a senior. I'm a sophomore. They're in love with us. These kids are smart. They listen. We just did because I was like, this is me and Sudan. Let me just do what I need to do, like jail, to get out there. I had applied to Morris College that year. It was stable. I got accepted, on early admission program, all these different things. Anthony was a senior. Him and Daryl, our foster dad, bonded over football. He bought Anthony a car. He loved Anthony. Kind of didn't love me. I was different. I was a track runner. So we were there for 1 year, and on my brother's 19th birthday, right after he graduated, so they had a big graduation party. It's July 21st, 97. We're at the house, a big old party for Anthony. She didn't get him a cake. We had pizza, but she's like, let me go get you a cake. So Big Alva went to the grocery store. I went to bed because I was doing summer camp. She comes home, breathing hard. Said, hey, y'all, I can't breathe. There's 7 kids in the house and her husband and her grandchild. She said, I can't breathe, y'all. I think I'm going home. She fell at the foot of her bed and died in front of all of us. I looked at Anthony. Ambulance comes, we go to the hospital. They said they tried to revive her, tried to do this. They tried everything. They came out and said, we're sorry, your mother's dead. And they all started, my mama. And me and Anthony looked at each other and said, their mom died, is what I said.
Yeah.
He said, I know. So we had to do the whole, oh man, oh my God. Yeah. I've only known her a year. She was amazing, but she died.
Wow.
So Anthony ended up going to college 2 weeks later, and I hated him for that. I said, it's your fault that I'm here. I hate you. I'm in a foster care, in this foster house as a junior, and you get to go to college, and I'm stuck in this house because you put my daddy in prison. So we had to fall out. I ended up, going honor society, being the president of the honor society. I was all state track, cross country city champion, undefeated 4x18 freshman year to senior year. Like I did all these things, and the grades were on point. Going to church with Daryl. Didn't really like Daryl though. He didn't really like me. So senior year, I was invited to be in the botillion, which is like the cotillion, but for men. He was so proud. He had never talked about me or complimented me, but when I said I was part of that botillion, he was so proud of me. I was like, wow, me and Daryl are starting to like each other. My senior year. So March of my senior year, we're gonna have this big botillion, or in April. We go to this father-son banquet. My dad actually got out of prison like that Monday, and the father-son banquet was Friday. I'm like, shit, who do I tell? I didn't tell my biological dad. I said, I'm gonna take my foster dad because this is so much to him. My biological dad just got out of jail. He's just a mess. He's not coming. So I took my foster dad. He's so proud. His kids didn't have good grades and things like that. So I was like his star academic child. He's like, oh, okay, I got a smart one. So he's enjoying the botillion and doing the kente cloth on my neck. And they said, tell your son something you've never told him since the day he was born. Well, he's not my father, but he looked up and he said, Ashley, the reason I've been so hard on you is because I love you. And you and your brother represent everything that I wanted in my own children. And I'm so glad that you came into our home. I'm like, wow, love you too, Daryl. So that night, this all makes sense to you in just a moment. This was Saturday. That night, we sat in the car, or Friday night, we sat in the car and he told me like stories about Alva and how he's just like heartbroken. I've been so hard on you because she was the love of my life. We met, she was 8, I was 9. He just told me all this stuff about Alva. Told me his whole life story and why he got the school he went to and why he owns houses. He just told me everything. And I was like, okay, cool, we're good. So Saturday, the next night, I was like, okay, I'm excited about the botillion next Friday. This is Saturday. I'm gonna go hang out with all the people who are gonna be in this event next Friday. And he's like, okay, cool, enjoy yourself. But that night around 11, he said, Ashley, you bring your ass home. I was like, huh? He's like, bring your ass home. You got my car out and think you can do what you want to do. I was like, Daryl, we just bonded last night, bro. He said, don't call me, bro. Get your ass home. Bring my car home. I was like, why? He said, because my grandson Mario, he's 5. Me, you, and him are going to church in the morning. I said, you mean of all the other kids in the house, people in the house, I have to come home for my fun night to get this 5-year-old ready for church in the morning. He said, yes, you do. So bring your ass home. I was like, yes, sir. I came home, parked the car, come inside. He's sleeping in the bed. I put his leg on the bed because he like fall on his back with his arm out. Put everything in the bed. Say, good night, maybe pull the cover up on him. Good night, Daryl. I'm home. 9 o'clock in the morning, Mario comes to the room. He's like, Uncle Ashley, get up. It's time to go to church. I said, dude, tell Daryl to get up. We all got to get up and go to church by 9:30. Church starts in 30 minutes. Why? He's still asleep. Oh, I could have stayed out late. I said, go wake him up. He left and came back. He said, Uncle Ashley, Papa won't get up. And he froze it. I said, he's what? I put on my flip-flops. I go through the house, the big house. I got to his room. He's in the same position I put the cover on last night, but the cover wasn't on him. I see peeing on his underwear. Go and check his vitals. My foster father died in his sleep that night. I was a senior in high school, graduating in 6 weeks, and the botillion was the following Friday. He died. Everyone else was gone. It was just me, him, and little 5-year-old Mario. I said, Mario, let's go downstairs and eat some Captain Crunch with the dog. I'll keep you downstairs. Is Papa okay? Yeah, he's fine. He's just sleeping. Okay, I told him to wake up. I told you. I'm like, yeah, let's go downstairs. Got him downstairs. As I'm coming upstairs, grab the phone, 911, start calling everybody. It was like a dream. I cried at the foot of his bed. He died in his sleep. Everyone came home. It was just another death. So in that following week with the botillion, they said, this is Mr. Ashley Head. He's the son of the late Alva Favors and the present Daryl Favors. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The late Alva Favors and the late Daryl Favors. Everybody cried, moment of silence. I got the highest academic scholarship, Mr. Congeniality from my peers, best marcher from the drill master, all the scholarships you could got. I got all of them. And my like foster care counselor, Athena, she was there. She said, hey, baby, you're doing such a great job. I'm so proud of you. What I'll do with your file is we'll just say everything's going well. I'll put your file in the back to have visits. Just don't fuck up these next weeks at school and just go to college and we'll just call it quits. I turned 18 August 2nd. So the last 6 weeks of school, I ran cross country, made it to the state meet on my team, got second place in the state. I got $499,000 awarded in scholarships, the most scholarships in the whole entire city, any one person. The one school that didn't give me scholarships was Morehouse College, and that's where I went. That summer, there's some other layers of like deviant things I've done. Junior year, I was working at Sears and I was stealing money and got caught. Didn't even tell Daryl. But my punishment was my senior year before I go to college, I had to do community service. So that summer I did community service, and I told Morehouse I was doing community service for Morehouse for school, but I was doing community service because I was a thief.
Oh man!
And then that August, I went to Morehouse College and then never returned. My biological father was alive though, remember? So every single Sunday, my biological father, he was really protective. He was like obsessed with me. And I said, Dad, why are you so obsessed with me? He said, because you look like your mother and you talk like her sometimes. You have the same needs as her. I'm like, you crazy. But he was really protective when I was little. Even when we drank juice, he would pour half juice, half water, 50-50. Even as a 17-year-old or 14-year-old, he'd pour half 7-Up, half water. I never knew what it was to have a full soda. I was a freshman in college, 18 years old. He's calling me, telling me, put some naughty bars under my bed. Don't drink all the Sunny D, put half water, half juice. I did that my entire freshman year. I hadn't had a full soda until he died, July 23rd of 2000. He died. So we're coming up on the anniversary of my dad's death. July 20th, something like that. July 23rd, 2000, he died. And after that is that when I started drinking full sodas. But my dad died. He died alone in an apartment of his friend's house of a heart attack in Dayton, Ohio.
I don't even know what to do with you. It is so out of this world to me that you are on the other side of this screen with the amount of life, purpose, and energy, and drive, and fortitude. I'm truly like shocked. I think you know what I mean. Like that story, and the way you remind me very, 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 very much of the dude. My man, and the conversation I had that actually started even these conversations, these fine 40 conversations, he's like, man, it only takes a couple people, like-minded people, you change the world. And he's this activist back east, Brian Favors, who you're gonna have to meet at some point because you all are like kinfolk, you know.
Yeah.
But what do you account? You know, what do you point at for your? Well, before I ask you that, how are you with your brothers now today?
So, so we're talking about Morehouse, you know, and that took me to the Morehouse story. I worked
Mm,
at Cheesecake Factory 37
mm,
hours a week. I ran track. I was, you know, in the chemistry club. I did everything I had to do to get through Morehouse.
mm,
And scholarships, loans.
mm,
My oldest brother, he's 2 years old, so he went to Ball State University in
mm,
Indiana, Muncie,
mm,
Indiana.
mm,
He became the first black person to be a president of student government at Muncie.
mm.
He became an accountant, got his master's in accounting, and now he owns a chicken restaurant in Dayton, Ohio. He's a chef. He ended up getting his chef, whatever you call it, certificate. He owns a restaurant in Dayton, Ohio.
Mm.
My
Oh,
oldest
so he went
brother,
back to Dayton. So
he went back.
Dayton
Yeah,
has some resonance for him. Okay, so he's in Dayton,
he's in
businessman doing
Dayton.
his thing.
My oldest brother, in the military, he was 5 years in Hawaii. In '96, he was Mr. Hawaii weightlifting. And then he went to Augusta, Georgia, and then now he's in Denver. He moved to Denver, Colorado, like in early '90s.
Mm.
He's been there ever since. Where he is like director of procurement for the Department of Transportation,
Wow.
buying buses and tires
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the city. Where
Yeah. Yeah.
so definitely three different careers,
Mm-hmm.
very different careers, and
Mm-hmm.
but you know, we made it out of Dayton, Ohio, and you know, one of the biggest dreams that I had when I was little, I wanted to be a veterinarian and turn to like OBGYN. So I love birth. You know, I love my fish to be pregnant, my gerbils to be pregnant. I just love that stuff. So I want to deliver babies. That's
Yeah.
where that came from. But my biggest dream when I was little, and I told you this before, I imagined because I was born in '81. I think all of the '80s, I never had a piece of fruit or veggie. So it was just like fried stuff or flour cakes or cupcakes or cookies. It was a bad foundation for my cereal. I mean, my dad didn't know how to cook. He
Mm,
fried eggs, you know, it was bread, grits, sugar, you know, cereal. There was no real healthy food.
mm.
My dream when I was little, it's like one day I'm going to have a refrigerator with fresh fruits and vegetables. That's all I want when I grow up. I didn't know how much it would cost, but I knew it was something. That's what I want. I thought that was some rich people stuff. I just wanted
Wow.
fruits and veggies, and I want to open my fridge and have fruits and veggies.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you go down this path, you know, into healthcare and chemistry. So why did you pick chemistry? Because when I think about OBGYN and physicians, it feels a little more biological to me. Why chemistry?
100% when you go and you want to be pre-med, it's that you go, people go biology or chemistry pre-med, and then you go, if you're scared, you go psychology pre-med. But
Yeah, yeah.
um, I don't like biology. I don't like all the words and the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
section of biology. I like the
Yeah.
chemistry, balancing equations, and the more abstract.
Yes. Yeah.
So
That's
that,
funny. My undergrad was biochemistry.
yeah,
So right there in the middle, like the aha for me was when we went. So I thought I wanted to be a physician. I thought I was pre-med as well and all this stuff. And they were doing the central dogma, you know, DNA,
mhm,
RNA, protein. And something in learning, well, that in and of itself was like, whoa. And
mhm,
then the kind of phosphate backbone of DNA and the helix and just all of the kind of electrostatic interactions that happen then at the protein level,
yeah,
like this
I,
is like how this all goes down is, you know. So then I was just hooked, man. I was hooked. So chemistry by itself, like OChem, you know, electron tracing and all that, I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know. That's why actually just to this day why I have this.
look at
These
that.
four colored
Yeah,
pans, like this is what they made us train on for like electron tracking and showing
yeah,
where, you know, electrons move in chemical reactions.
yeah.
And so that's my leftover for my chemistry days. But if it didn't make
Awesome.
sense biologically, it was hard for me to really care about it, you
Okay.
know. But anyway, so what do you? So now then, so you dream then, and I'm sure, even though that may not be your background, like your for real background, I know back in there's a refrigerator with some fruits and veggies in it. So you can check that dream off. What's your
Okay.
dream today?
So where I am today, you know, married with three kids,
Yeah.
and as I started the business, I'm going to build an empire.
Mm,
So now I full throttle building Curls Poppin. We're on Amazon. You can buy products at www.curlspoppin.com. and we're growing the business. And my goal is to make it an empire. We also have another business that's thriving, a parent teaching business where we validate, educate, motivate, and inspire. It's called Boss Parents. So
Yeah.
we have that trademarked as well. So Boss Parents is a parent group. We have picnics every summer.
Yeah.
And but with Curls Poppin, I hope to grow it. Where we are now, I hope to have a building here in San Diego, a warehouse,
Yeah.
and we're going to grow it. And my goal, and we'll say it now, that I hope to have like a corner office, top floor, facing the ocean. The building's going to be glass. You can see yourself as you walk by, facing the ocean. And my wife will have an office too, in the office next door. We're going to separate our office by a wall, but with a fish aquarium in the middle of the wall. So,
look at this. That's called that's high level visualization right there, brother. That's
when I say that's my goal. And when I did the trade show in 2018, I said, wouldn't it be awesome if I could get my product in Morehouse Bookstore? It would be. So in March, I was supposed to go to a wedding in Jamaica, and the wedding was canceled from the Jamaica location and relocated to Atlanta. So we went to the wedding in Atlanta, and we changed our booking to the first week of August to Jamaica. So we're still going on vacation. The couple is mad because I'm like, you guys planned this wedding. You didn't get to go to Jamaica, but thank you because I didn't get rid of my reservation. I'm still going.
Yes.
So we go to the wedding at the end of April this year. And we put an extra day on the calendar so I can go to Morehouse to get some swag. So I go in there, I'm looking for t-shirts and stuff like that. And this guy, one other person was in there shopping. He said, hey man, what are you using in your hair? Because I was looking at the hair products. It was like Miss Jessie's, who I modeled for, Shea Moisture, who I'd used recently, and there was an empty spot. I said, you know what? I actually use my own product called Curls Poppin, and hopefully one day it could be in this spot right here. Yeah. The guy who manages the bookstore said, hey, is that your hair for real? I was like, you use your own product? You mean you created it? I was like, yeah, my company. He said, I'd love to have your product in the bookstore. You're an alumni. I can get you in here. So guess what? Just 2 weeks ago, we sent all of the products in the box, and we are currently working on a purchase order, not only for Morehouse College, but every HBCU in the goddamn country.
What's wrong with you? So what do you tell me? What is this? Okay, I'll just tell you. In my worldview, in this house, we talk a lot about mindset and having a kind of Teflon mind, unbeatable mind, unbreakable mind, whatever you want to call it, and how the unseen and the energetic level of our existence really, 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 really does matter. And your ability to envision and to see things, I mean, just your recall by itself in the way that you tell stories and visualize your entire life story and have it captured, it just tells me already about how you forward think. I mean, even, down to the walking, I can see myself. I just saw myself walk by.
Come on in.
I could get goosebumps right now. I saw myself walk by the wharf somewhere. I can feel pelicans and ocean birds, and I can feel the ocean spray, like that smell that you get when you're next to the water. And that building, the buildings that we've all gone by. When you walk by, you see yourself as a glass building. Ashley's up there. Ashley Lindsay.
Ashley's up there, top floor. My boy Ashley. Hey, I'm downstairs. Can I come in and get some of that espresso? Yes, you can. At the Head Enterprises building, because not just Curls Poppin, it's my wife's company, Plan Securely, it's Boss Parents, it's the talent management, it's whoever wants to rent space. It's my building in San Diego. And it's headed and financed by Curls Poppin, which we pulled out of Head Consulting. We're pulling it out now. Actually, this summer when we get a purchase order, we'll create a separate entity because it's bigger now. It's growing.
Wow.
My baby was under the umbrella of Head Consulting, but it has to come out and be its own thing because it's growing.
Yeah. Wow.
And this working for other people. It's for the birds. I'm gonna let my hair out, put my t-shirt on, and we're done with this. Gotta play the game, get myself there, and then we out.
Yeah, my goodness. So when do you think that? When do you anticipate that transition? If all went well in your glass, your crystal ball, when do you think?
It could be as soon as this fall.
Wow.
Because a purchase order would mean 107 bookstores would need my product every month. Man. It would be just let me focus on my warehouse, my building, my life.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And my TikToks.
Yeah, your TikToks. So talk to me about this. So where do you turn to for your education and your learning? So I do see your social media situation. I see CeeLo Green. I see Montel Jordan. How are those things? What? Those is partners. That's just like, frat or something. How you know? How does this happen?
I mean, along the way, it's also very crazy that you would
Yeah.
hear this. My senior year, this is me working at the spaghetti warehouse, and senior year at Morehouse, it was a biology final day. I had 3 weeks before, or 3 weeks before I graduate, or was it 6 weeks before I graduate? In college this time, instead of high school, when Dad died, foster dad died, I'm going to take midterms, and I was running out my building, 710 Peachtree, right next to the Fox Theater. I'm running out my building, my books in hand, cell phone. I left my cell phone, went, got it, put in my pocket. I'm running out down the elevator, out the building, and I run into a guy, and everything goes up in the sky, falls on the ground. I'm like, oh shit, I'm so sorry, man. It's a black guy. I'm sorry, dude. I don't mean to. Picking up my stuff, picking up his stuff. I'm frantic. Here you go. Here's your stuff. Here's my stuff. Oh, that's pretty cool. Somebody might on the beach. Oh, here you go. He said, hey, man, hey, quick question. I'm running late for a biology exam. Well, what's up? I got to go catch the bus. He said, can you take my card? Have you ever modeled before? I was like, no. He said, take my card and give me a call when you have a moment. I said, okay, cool. Put it in my pocket, ran to school, took my exam. 10 o'clock at night, I'm pulling in my book to study again, and his card falls. I was like, let me call this dude. I called and said, hey man, sorry about earlier. It's Thursday night, 10:30. I'm sorry to like run into you earlier. It's crazy. Tell me a little bit about it. He said, well, I'm actually a photographer. I'm in town shooting some female models. And I thought it'd be good to capture because I'm actually a BT photographer and I'm moving into like managing people. So I'm looking for models to manage. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not a model, I'm just a student, going to Morehouse, etc. He said, I fly back out on Monday, but I'd love to do a shoot with you on Sunday. I was like, cool. Could I, if I could find the pictures, could I bring my 2 iguanas and take a picture with them? Because that'd be cool to have pictures. I'm a model, pop my collar, wear a pink shirt, do no shirt with a jacket. He was like, sure. So we did a photo shoot that Sunday. So that Monday, he flies out to New York and he calls me Tuesday, say, hey, man, I want to tell you that I showed your photos to my client. My client wants to actually for you to be a model. I was like, well, I don't even know what that means. What do you mean your client? And what does that mean for me? He said, well, I'm a photographer for a client. And a woman named Shani Herrera saw your pictures and wants to know, would you be interested in modeling? We can get you in a 1-year contract. I was like, sure. How much money do I make? He said, you make it as you go. I was like, okay. So my brother who ran Eli Lilly, he sent the contract. I sent it to my brother. He had a legal look at it because they were cool. And he said it was pretty good. I should sign it. I was like, well, who is your client? He said Jay-Z. Jay-Z, like Beyonce's husband. I was like, oh shit, from Rockaway? He said, yeah, you're gonna be a Rockaway model. So he flew back down to Atlanta that Wednesday, a week after I met him, and I signed with Rockaway for a year. So I was working in Houston. You got to follow the story. Didn't have anything happen May, June, July, August. But in August, I moved to Houston and started working at Baylor College of Medicine.
Yeah.
I'm also a newly signed Rockaway model. So some days on Fridays, I would have to fly from Houston to Miami to model, or to New York, or to LA from Houston, and fly back on Sunday to be at work on Monday.
What is man?
So that is natural.
But how does that lead to like CeeLo Green and Montel Jordan though? So I get that.
So I did that in 2003, 2004. I'm a model. It's cool. I met a lot of people, a lot of contacts, and that was it. And so I was like, I'm interested in fashion, kind of on the side. Yeah. So in 2013, I went to a fashion show in New York. 2011, I went to a fashion show in DC, and I said, you know what? I like this stuff. I'm going to create a company called Natural International Talent Alliance and manage models on the side. So I created the model talent management company. 2013, I went to a show in New York, and this guy, the designer, was like, hey, I need a manager. Will you be my manager? His name is the JD Collection. And I said, sure. I signed him as my first talent. He's still my talent. And he has styled Rihanna, Ashanti, Chris Brown, Jennifer Hudson, all these celebrities. But in order for him to style them, they have to talk to me. Their managers have to talk to me. So I have a spreadsheet of all these celebrities' managers. So when I want to get to them, I can send an email and get to a celebrity.
What?
And I have, if you look at Instagram, Danita NYC, that is our talent management company page. So I also have a talent management company.
Man, I cannot even. This is some. My goodness. So the whole excellence idea.
That's little.
I don't know what the next thing, but the next, there's some other level, there's some other tier that we're gonna have to like name. I think you might have to be on a different show or something. I don't know.
We won't have enough time to talk about all the things I'm working on with my time. It's 24 hours in a day, and I use every last one of them. I'm going to be on a global clinical call answering a question about the FDA saying that you need to have a certain document in place to approve why we are having drug made in the UK and sent to the US versus standard of care being created in the US and sent out to sites. It's cheaper over there. We save $400,000 if we have it made in the UK. While I'm doing that, I am posting a TikTok that I created on Sunday online. I'm posting because it's draft. At the same time, on my computer, I'm looking at an email sending out a contract for a brand ambassador. But I'm on a global phone call and I'm texting and sending a draft of TikTok.
See, man, I mean, there are people that argue that you cannot multitask, one thing at a time, but you clearly have afterburners and extra juice. Part of this program is to try to like derive, people say success leaves clues. So I try to find what you are running on, so some people just come out, pew. I feel like you're kind of one of those people. There's that other brother, what's his name? E.T. He gets up in front of audiences and is like, you need to want it more than you want to breathe.
Oh, yeah.
That brother,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, bulldog looking brother. I think he just moved out east. And I saw him speaking in Philadelphia at the Black MBA conference a couple of years ago. And he's, he goes hard. And I saw him also, I don't know if you follow Brendan Bouchard. He had a thing here in 2019, the influencers conference. We get into some of that stuff too, coaching people and life purpose crafting stuff. He was there too. And I sometimes look at him like he is so wired. He has trained his brain to go through whatever the brick wall is in front of him by virtue of the struggle that he's been through, that the almost life or deathness of it, he can sit on that razor's edge and his motivation is kind of visceral. Like, he is moving from a different, like a survival place.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel a little bit of that from you. Like, I don't know if in your mind you have mantras or if in your day you have practice or you have to build muscle and habit to reinforce what you're doing. Like if you were sitting in front of a group of 12-year-olds or high school kids and we're talking about what we just talked about, and then we're looking to leave gems and clues for them, what is it about Ashley that's empowering all this? Have you been that self-reflective to know, or do you, because in my mind, you've been on this channel from the gate, it feels like.
It's, it's truly been hard. It's been a struggle. Like even going to college, every single semester, figuring out which loans, there was no cosigner, it's me. So figuring out which loans, or damn, how many hours at the Cheesecake Factory a week between classes can I work as a host at the front counter to make sure my rent is paid, and if my car breaks down, it is paid, and also if I need extra books or lab supplies, all that is me. There's no auntie that I could call, no dad, or nobody could swipe a card for me. I had to do everything on my own. If you hear underwear, that's me. So for me, it's just like I have to. It has to happen.
No choice.
I have to do it. I'm not leaving anybody else.
So sometimes I talk about that with people in coaching dynamics. This idea of radical responsibility, radical self-initiative, and I think you have been formatted in that way. That's how it's happened.
That's it. There's no help. There's nobody. There's no help. There's no get out of, what is it called? Like the
get out of jail free card,
first responder type of thing, where there's a person you can call that can help you financially. You have to do it by yourself, and when you know only you,
lifeline, no lifeline,
no help. Do it myself.
What would you describe? And I know we're at the hour here too, so we may need to pivot here in a second. But what is your growth edge? So when you think about, like, what's hard for you?
What's hard? What's hard for me is quitting before I get to the end result, knowing what the end result is. So even in Morehouse College, when I got to, even my senior year of high school, when I was getting ready for Botellian, had lived in a foster home, we went to our October homecoming, and it was the time of our life, and we're driving home that night. It was 3 friends. We all had a car. I was in the front car and 2 cars behind us. I was looking in the rearview mirror at 2 a.m. after this dance. The 3rd car, Mark, crashed into a pole. So he fell asleep. We all went to the hospital, stayed up all night long at the hospital. And our parents, my foster dad included, said, you all have to go take that SAT. Well, that October senior year SAT was my Morehouse score. it was like 7:50. I was up all night, couldn't concentrate, sad that my friend had got in an accident, all broke up, leg
Yeah.
broke, bars in his mouth.
Woo.
And when I got to Morehouse College, they told me, yeah, you're going to major in chemistry, but you're going to graduate, quote unquote, late because you have to start in remedial math.
Mm.
I tested out of remedial math, got to college algebra, and I took all of the 18 maths at Morehouse College. I took every last one of them.
Mm.
From remedial math to differential equations and calculus 3. I took all of them. I wanted to quit all along the way, but I couldn't. I was that dude that stayed up 24 hours, sometimes 2 nights a week, because I would go to school from 9 to 2, and I worked Cheesecake Factory from 2 or 3 o'clock, chicken at 2:45, from 3 o'clock to 11 when the restaurant closed. Go home, shower, the food smell off of me. It's 11:30. I eat the food I brought from Cheesecake Factory at 11:30. I was a resident assistant, so my hours were 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I was the night shift. People want to kill themselves. But from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. was homework time before my 8 o'clock class.
So again, I feel like you were wired this way. But when I ask you what's hard for you, I don't gather. I don't understand when you say what's hard for me is quitting before the end. Like, do you do that sometimes? Like you will quit right at the finish line, or are you saying
I've never quit. I've never quit. I ran cross country, ran an 800, ran a mile. In college, senior year SIAC championships, Morehouse College, my coach said, Ashley, never did this, but I need you to go run the 10,000. All you got to do is get 2 points. I did it and got 2 points. We won the SIAC championship. So I was like, damn, coach, I never ran 10,000 on the track. I think it was 26 laps. I did it. I was like, I guess I got to do it. Give me some Gatorade.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm looking for the cracks. I'm looking because no pain, no gain, and I feel like there is for each of us. Like as much as I'm heaping praise all upon you, I know you're a human being. So
Yeah,
I know you are not Teflon. I know you have a limit. There's an edge somewhere. So I'm curious about what that might be, or do you even allow yourself to consider it, or is this just you may not. I feel like you're moving at such a speed and with such high volume of output that perhaps it doesn't even enter your mind. But is there something you're trying to optimize, or is there something that you're like, man, I need to get better at this, or something that catches you in your behavior or your psychology that you are working on?
You know what? I think it's what I've told myself when I was younger. When I said I wanted to go to medical school, people were like, "Oh, you want to go to medical school? That's hard. Everybody's not meant for medical school." It's like, if somebody has a brain in their head like mine and they can do it, I got to train my brain to be able to do it. That's all it is. It's I have to train myself to do it because someone else could do it. So even with Curls Poppin, I figured out how to create the toolkit, which is all these tools in one package. It's all created in China. How to get it here on a dot on the crate, how it comes through customs. I learned that. Then it goes to Chula Vista. I learned that. I'll go down there and pick it up and put it in boxes and ship it to Atlanta. I figured it out. Got on Google and just dug deep and just didn't stop, relentless until I found the answer. I think the things that I want for myself, the things that I want to achieve, I go for those things and I figure out how to get to that end result. There are some things that I don't know how to do that I don't try to do. I don't know how to play basketball. I don't even try it. That's not my thing. I stay in my lane. Stay in my lane. You tell me to run, I can run. But you tell me to go play basketball, I'm not your guy. My kids the other day were like, Dad, you play basketball? I'm like, Dad, you don't know how to play basketball. Come on, all dads don't know how to play basketball. I'm like, not me.
No,
No.
not this one. Not this one. Well, let me. So I'm trying to turn this Rubik's cube around. I'm trying to find.
Okay, go deep.
So then talk to me about from because relentless. I just wrote it down and put a box around it because that really is like that's forever how I will know you. I believe like that's what I pick up from your mode. How do you think about yourself either along masculine lanes or racial lanes? Like what's identity wise, or do you think about those things or not? Like you know. So let's talk about the race piece. Let's start there. Does that ever calculate into how you move or how you network or what's important, or are you just a human being first before any of that?
You know what? I am literally my heart of hearts. As I thought about the things I wanted in life, I am a human being.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'm a black man in America.
Yeah.
Can I get this executive job at Pfizer. I said, no, I'm fine. This is my resume. Let's go on for this interview, see if you get it. And the thing is, the universe has shifted in such a way that everything I focused on, I got. And here's an example. I was working here at Abbott Molecular for that first year here, 2000. It was October 2015 to October 2016. It was a 1-year contract. I was just getting an FDA inspection ready. So right around September, a recruiter from Biophase or whatever reached out and said, hey, Ashley, we have an associate director need at Sinhua Biosciences. It's a Chinese company. They would love someone to speak Mandarin, but they need all of your experience, but you don't speak Mandarin, but I think I want to put you in front. The vice president has already spoken to 6 candidates, and I can put you in as the 7th because he's about to make a decision. I was like, oh shit, okay, what can I do? All right, I'm gonna learn about Sinhua Bioscience. I'm gonna learn about China. I'm gonna learn about Dr. Lim, his whole background. So Dr. Lim, he's from New Zealand. What do I know about New Zealand? Oh, bungee jumping started there. They have cheeses and all these different things from cows, in butters from cows. Okay, I learned about Dr. Lim. He started the medical school in New Zealand. Then he went to University of Kentucky, got a PhD. He's a pharmacist now. Now he's the VP of Sinhua Biosciences. He worked at Sinhua. He worked at Quintiles. He worked at U.S. Oncology. He worked at Quintiles. He was a VP at both those places. Cool. I know about him. There's 5 other people. I learned about all of them. The company started in 2014. It was one company. They got bought. They bought the molecule for $1 million. Now the company's worth $8 million. All right, I'm ready for the interview. Wait a minute. Must know Mandarin. How do you say hello? Ni hao. How you say hello to you? Ni hao ma. Wo hen hao. Happy weekend. You know. Hen hao chu. Food is good. I'm ready for my interview. We go to an interview, talk about myself. This is who I am. I worked at Pfizer. I worked at Excel. I will be your best candidate because I worked at the largest pharmaceutical company in the world. And I also worked, when I left Pfizer, I worked at the largest CRO in the world, Excel. I would be your best candidate because I could help you manage any CRO in the world because I know how they speak. I know how to negotiate the contracts. I have the masters to prove it. And also, ni hao ma. He almost hit the floor and smiled just like that. He learned Chinese. I said, you too. Wo hen hao. Food is good. I said, wo hen, he ni hao che. Actually, and you know what? Ironically, that same week, I interviewed on the phone at Illumina, and I got the job for project manager, $90 an hour in the basement. I was like, okay, that's cool, but I don't want to work that job. So I told him at the interview, he said, you have anything else for me? I said, you know, Dr. Lim, this is very bold, but I'm going to say it. And I want you to know that from this statement, sir, that you'll always know that you'll have the transparency that you're going to have in this very moment. I'm going to say it once, and I'm just going to leave the interview with this said. I want you to know that I love the job. I read all about you. I know that you started the University of New Zealand Medical School. You went to University of Kentucky, got your PhD in pharmacy. Now you're a pharmacist. You worked at U.S. Oncology. You worked at, Quintiles. You're a VP at both. I love your background. I would love and be honored to work beside you as your assistant, associate director. I want you to know this, though. I was offered a position at Illumina this week. So after this interview, by Monday, there's a decision that I have to make. I want to work with you, given the opportunity, but I do have a job at Illumina. I haven't confirmed yet. I wanted to speak to you first. I left that meeting at 5:30. By 6:05, I got a phone call from the recruiter saying, I'm off with the position. So of all the people that interviewed, I'm the only African American. There were 5 white guys, a white woman, and a Chinese woman. He chose me.
Yeah, and so clearly you don't operate in a reference in any, they talk about Willie Lynch, they talk about all these different things,
The rules, no rules for me.
Yeah, you're outside the box. Yeah.
There's a human connection I make too in person. I'm looking at you in your eyes. It's not about me. I'm asking questions and trying to connect. I'm trying to find out, like, how do we connect? Because I figure any person in the world, you put me in a room with them, you lock the door across the table, we can be friends if we talk long enough. We can figure out what we like, that's the food or way we sleep or drinking water, working out, science. We can figure it out and say, man, we can be cool on this subject.
Yeah.
And Dr. Lim is like a news nerd, and he's just so smart. Like, I just want to absorb your brain. Can I just listen to you and write notes? And he was so flattered. I worked for him for 4 months before he quit. He said, Ashley, I'm leaving. I left. I was the adjunct VP for 6 months. He said, I'm leaving because I had spoken to a company a year ago that I wanted to commit to. And I know now that you have all the information you've written enough to keep this company going in my absence. And I did that for the next 8 months.
Wow.
Before I left.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
texted him yesterday to see if he's hiring because I'd love to go working for him again. So we're like this.
You're not talking about Jonathan Lim.
John Lim.
But not the Jonathan Lim that's now like a venture dude and is on all these boards and stuff. Is he in town? No, he's not like
no. So yeah, it's just John Lim. He's
John Lim,
a Chinese guy from New Zealand.
Got it.
Yeah, so I don't operate in I'm a black man going to this interview. Let me be a separate of my white counterparts. I'm like, let me go in, got long hair and a ponytail. My nails are clean, my teeth are good. Let's have a conversation. If I'm for you, I'm for you. If I'm not, believe me, I have 27 LinkedIn messages that I can probably mess up.
Yeah. So then do you have any guiding philosophy? You said you did all that Jesus thing for a minute. Like philosophically, do you because there was a moment in my history too where I was a dude, I've been, not too many people know the story of me being put on my knees at M16 gunpoint on a military base. My dad was a military dude, and I used to, when I was up in Sacramento, I would, dip into the BX and take my 5-finger discount. And they didn't really like that. So, the silly things you do, and that was one of the silly things that I did. But at some point in my life, I feel like I used to run kind of fast and a little wild, and over time, maybe it's just time, being married and having kids and trying to align. You start to adopt different ways. Do you have any philosophical things you adhere to, or any inspirational, aspirational? I mean, I saw the landmark thing on Lindsay's. Landmark's its own particular thing too. Are you landmark type people, or what's your thing? Do you have a thing, or maybe you don't?
Like a mantra, like a thing I follow, or a book, or a Bible, or you know what? I actually did Landmark 2 years ago. I understood it. There was 120 people in my room, about 105 stood up and told their story. I did not. I did not share my story. It's a vulnerable thing when you get up and say, I am very conceited because my dad used to call me ugly. Now I got fake lips and breasts. Like that is what people do.
Yeah, no, it's raw. It's raw.
I was like, I understand it, but this is not. It's not for me. I don't resonate.
You don't.
This type of training.
Yeah.
What I did take away is I live in the what's so world, and what that is if you've done it before, you've done Landmark. But basically,
I've been to the little like preps, you know what I mean. Come in, and I've checked it out, but I haven't done it. I have friends that are down that really get into it.
So I'm like, I live in a world where what happened is what happened. You got to move the fuck on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My mother, people. See, the thing is, it started when I was like 8, 9 years old. People like, oh my God, Ashley, you don't have a mother. I'm like, I actually don't. Like, oh my God, you must be so sad. I'm like, well, it's like, do you have a great grandfather? You say no. Well, it's the same thing. I never met her. I really don't care. It's not this thing that's like, you don't miss what you never had. I'm sorry, I'm talking like this, but I don't know a mother's love, a mother's touch. You don't have a father, because guess what? My father was my nurse. He was my dada. He rubbed my belly when I was, stomach ache. He fixed my boo-boos, kissed me at night. That was a daddy. I snuggled with my daddy till I was 10.
Yeah.
So I don't know a mother's love. I only know male intimacy with my father.
Yeah.
So and he was a man, so I don't have the connection to so many emotional ties to things that happen.
Yeah.
Fall, get up.
Yeah.
She died.
Yeah.
Foster mother died. Oh my God, she died. But it's over for her. Story's over, because I would tell her, you need to lose weight. I'm running at 5 a.m. to get ready for the state track meet. Do you want to, or cross country meet? Do you want to walk around the track while I run around the track? She would say no. Can we stop eating Church's chicken on Sunday and go for like salads? And can we not drink Coke and drink? These are conversations that we had months before she died. So when she died, it was what's so for me. I kind of told you so. It was hard, but I kind of told you so. Foster dad was a lot of a surprise. He had diabetes, died in his sleep, but he was big, strong guy, muscle guy, but he died. He died, and I was like, well, when he died, I cried at the foot of his bed, and for somehow, some way, my eyes closed, crying. It felt like I went deep into my head, and the crying was further out, and I was in a dark space. And I heard him say, Ashley, you run track, and when you are running towards the finish line, if you fall and you're in first place, do you fall and not get back up, or do you crawl and get your ass across the finish line? So I'm going to get my ass across the finish line. He said, keep on going, Ashley. That's what I heard at the foot of his bed while I cried. I like, wow, he kind of gave me. I feel like
For
he put
real,
some.
for real. For you had that
Sure,
experience.
I did. I feel like we
Mhm.
literally had like a in my brain
Yeah,
conversation
neural
one on
link.
one at the foot of
Yeah.
his bed. And then the one other thing happened like the next night or two
Mhm.
nights later, I had a dream in the bed that I was in my bed and he came and gave me a big hug. Like I was almost like I really got hugged. And I woke up, like, did I really get hugged?
Mhm.
And that's the last experience I had about him.
Mhm.
He got buried the next week.
Mhm.
But it was like, you know, it felt like it was closer. We were good. He told me I love you for the first time
Yeah, yeah,
the day before he died.
yeah, yeah.
Or yeah, so 24 hours before he died, he told me I love you. So it's what's so. And my dad, the last time I saw him, I came home for the summer from Morehouse College my freshman year.
Mhm.
He was in jail, so he had money in the bank still. He got out and bought himself a royal blue 1992 Camaro, like Knight Rider.
Mhm.
When I came home from summer that summer, I got like a day job, kind of putting boxes and books
Mhm.
in boxes. He
Mhm.
would pick me up from my foster home because DJ, the oldest son, owned the home by then, so I would stay there. I stayed there for that one summer. My dad would pick me up from the house, take me to that boxing job, leave or whatever. But by 4 o'clock, 3:45, my dad was sitting out there like my boyfriend. My dad was out there waiting every day. My dad loved me some Ashley. So the last
Yeah.
day before I went to a summer program, he said, Ashley, I'm gonna pick you up, take you to breakfast before you drive out, before you go back to school this
Mhm.
weekend.
Mhm.
You know how I was gonna get there. He said he's gonna give me his car. But it was like a week later, a week before I left, we went to breakfast. So instead of going to breakfast, he said, make a left, left, right, left, right. We ended up going to the DMV. We go in, we get to the front of the line. I was like, what are we doing? Shut up, Ashley, put your hands down. He's real like, put your hands down. Look, don't put your hands on the counter.
Mhm.
He said, I like to put my car, I like to sell my car to my son for $1. So he gave me that Camaro
Wow.
right before he died. He gave it to me because he was
Wow.
gonna do it anyway.
Wow.
He just loves his baby, so he gave me his car. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
when he died, Anthony and I went to my summer pro. It was Anthony's birthday, 21st on a Wednesday, like it is this year. And on Friday, Anthony and I went to the movies, and we got a phone call. It was my oldest brother in Denver calling, saying, "Oh my God, can you go to Dad's house?" And we were like, "Why?" It's like he died, and the coroner had oldest brother's number in the phone. My dad had my oldest brother's number in his pocket.
Mhm.
They called him. He's in Denver. He called us and said, "Dad died today."
Mhm.
And that's how we found out our dad died. We were together leaving the movies. And
Wow.
so when he died, we buried him the next week or whatever. It's like he died, like game over.
Mhm.
He, you know, was a
Yeah.
crackhead.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
Like my
till he
dad,
passed.
but
Was that his struggle till he passed?
wasn't so. You know what? He had a heart attack. So
Yeah.
he'd been in prison. He got out actually a month before he died, like June of 2000. He got his pilot's license. So he was brilliant and was like on some other shit too. So he was cleaning his life up. And he had a letter in his outgoing mail. It was a card. We opened it up. It said, "Love me and I love you back. Dad, smile." It was addressed to my college address.
Wow, man. Bro, I'm sharing for you, bro. I'm sharing like
Thank you, man.
loud. Anything, anyway, any kind of anything that ever in my life that can be helpful to your life.
This is
Oh
helpful,
Lord.
man. Just talking about it. It's good to do a recap.
Oh Lord have mercy.
And on my phone, I actually found a video recently that I'm going to send to you.
Hmm.
It is going to blow your mind. It may make you have a tear, man. You know why? You know
Well,
why?
that's not something, I cry all the time. This house, they're like, Daddy's crying. Oh, that's not news. I got that from my mom, man. So she has her heart on her sleeve. So anything, I'm like, oh man, why are you doing it to me? So what you
It's going to
said to
blow
me?
your mind. It's going to blow your mind because it's actually 17-year-old Ashley telling you this exact story, Matt. I want you to see this.
What?
You got to look at your phone.
What is this, man? You did
You got to
some
look
sort
at
of,
this phone.
am I some sort of alternative universe, some sort of TikTokery? This on
Watch the
email or
video. Watch the video, brother. Don't look at me. Look at the video.
call out, dog? Where you at? Where's it at? It's not on my phone. You text it to me?
Oh, actually, it's loading right now. When you see this video, your mouth is going to drop because you're looking at me 20 years after this, 22 years after this story.
How old are you, 40?
40 August 2nd.
Ooh, big four. Oh, you got any plans?
We're going to Jamaica, Sandals,
Ooh, that's beautiful. You taking the whole
and
family? You taking the whole family?
Miami and Bahamas. Just me and the wife.
Look at you. Look at you. Come
So it's
on.
great, right? It's like Let me see. It said it's loading right now. Like the
I get it. A little line that goes across.
Yeah. You have you have WhatsApp?
I do have WhatsApp too.
Because that's easier. Sometimes you send the big files like that and just go to WhatsApp. Let me see if it's going through. Okay, it went. Here you go, brother.
Hold on.
Get the tissue.
Oh, Lord have mercy. What is this?
Get the tissue.
What is this?
Beyond after a very rough start in life. Early on, 17-year-old Ashley Head was forced to learn some tough lessons. His mother died when he was a baby, and things went downhill from there, starting with his father.
Because my mother's death became depressed and tired of her, have to, and as a result of that, he turned towards drugs and alcohol.
Ashley and his two older brothers had to raise themselves.
We would sometimes left at home for a week with, without my dad being there, his friends would watch us, we didn't know who they were,
Finally, Ashley and his brothers were placed in foster care when their father tried to kill his oldest son. Ashley says that's when his life changed.
I was not on the right track when I came here my freshman year. But from then, I had a mother, a father, they taught me values, how to go to church, how to have a faith in God.
Ashley gives a lot of credit to Children's Services for giving him a new family and new hope.
And he's an inspiration, not only to young
Is that Athena?
but to adults too.
No.
Proves that despite the setbacks in your life, that
Her boss.
you to go on and be successful.
And talk about success. Ashley will graduate at the top of his class. He's a star on the track team, plays in the band, and is president of the National Honor Society. Now he has advice for others.
No matter how bad it gets for you, someone's always going through a situation that's much worse than yours. You never give up to
really unused capacity, service, and share your gifts with others.
And Ashley is coping with another tragedy. His foster.
So what was that last
part? You hear the last part?
Yeah.
Huh?
No. Okay, hold on.
Father died this past summer of a heart attack, but he says this time it's brought his new family closer together. Now, after graduation, Ashley plans to study medicine at Morehouse University in Atlanta. If you know a young person going above and beyond in any aspect of their lives, give me a call or send your nomination to the address on your screen. It's graduation.
Man. Yeah, you're special.
Mic drop. Look, mic drop. It's true. I told you. It's true.
Oh, my goodness.
It's true, right?
What was that last line you said? You were quoting it. What did you say to them?
Never give up until you abuse your unused capacity for service and share your gifts with others.
Yes. That's what is up right there.
Can you believe that?
Barely. But yes, having sat here now for the second time, I've now spent a couple hours talking to you. I talked to you once the first time and my whole head cap is blown off. I'm like, this dude. I'm talking to you again here and now watching that. Yeah, man, I'm inspired. This is half of what, it's more than half of why I do these conversations myself, is just to be like wowed and amazed by the capacity of humanity, particularly Black humanity, but like you say, you don't even operate on that wavelength. So I man, I appreciate you. I really do. You're an inspiration. I we're gonna be in touch. My little curly-headed cutie downstairs loves your products. And
hey, I'm so glad. I gotta drop some more in the mail for you. I promise I'll get up ASAP.
And we're gonna have to take a stroll along the oceanfront so you can point out to me where you think these spots are gonna be, so I can
That'd be good.
I can throw my intentions in your way as well. And I know we talked at one point about like some sort of Black biotech thing. Something tells me you're about to pivot and not you're about to put biotech and the rest of that in your rear view mirror. But
actually, yesterday I interviewed at Genentech. They wanted to talk to me about a senior director of clinical operations role. I responded to a LinkedIn. He said, "Can we jump on a call?" And I had the call, and they want you remote for now and then on site in September. So I was like, I'm gonna have to pass on that. But I'm also being considered for 3 other roles. Although I'm super grateful at MEI, I'm motivated by by a salary and title, and somebody wants to pull me out and pay me
Yeah.
more, by all means, it's business. I'm paying someone else to pay me for the thing.
Yes, that's
That's how I
exactly what
move.
it is. There's been $2 billion injected into the startup environment in this town since the beginning of the year. There are 15% more jobs, summer over summer from 19 to 20 in San Diego, and not 15% more workforce. Man, it is particularly for folks that look like you. Not to make it so blackety black and affirmative action all the damn time, but seriously.
My
You know,
LinkedIn
there's not a lot of
shows it.
yous. There's not a lot of yous walking around, man. So your stock price is high right now.
When I tell you, I'm like, oh yeah, we can definitely have a conversation.
Yes, it is high. It is high. So please, sir, please pull that lever. Please.
I am. And that's the thing. My wife and I, we say, look, this is business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving on to who's going to pay me for this more for the same amount of time. Let's go.
Come on, man. There's so much.
They'll let me go.
All these houses sitting next to the water, like what the hell? There was some
about that. You know, live once. I'm trying to get that bag, bring it home. Yeah.
Why not? There's a lot of money moving around. There is a lot of money moving around.
Exactly. Yeah. So I am 100% committed to the visibility and credibility in the biotech space. To say I'm a scientist, if I'm still working in that, you look in LinkedIn and you see me like this. That is the credibility.
Yep.
These folks, we'll just say folks, and then you got the Curls Poppin. Some people go and Google me to really see. Let me see what he's talking about. And they're like, oh damn, director of clinics and biotech. Curls Poppin CEO. Okay, it makes sense. So I think I need to hold on to it just to have that credibility.
That's right. Yeah.
And then just hire somebody else to do all the work at the warehouse.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I just took an offer for senior director of corporate development. So in my little same spot, but they, now I got to do all the board level conversations, the CEO level conversations, and strategery. But that was an important thing for me too.
Of course.
So I definitely myself long term want to be running these companies and having strategic input on how we spend money and input on what the hell kinds of diseases and health concerns and gaps I'm trying to fill. There's a dude named Rob Perez who was brother from LA, kind of Creole cat. His folks are from Louisiana. He ran a company called Cubis that was sold to Merck for like many dollars. So now he's got a spot in Boston and a spot in Huntington Beach, and he like winters in Cali and springs in Boston.
I'm trying to do that. Yeah.
He runs a thing called Life Science Cares, and there's a office here in town, and it's designed to find folks who look like you and I to contribute to the larger ecosystem and start kind of pipelining kind of K through 12 kids into, well, it's more than that really. They address like bottom line inequities in terms of poverty and education and those kinds of things. So it's not necessarily just STEM focused, but the potential to create this kind of STEM pipeline and bringing kids out of various environments into higher education opportunities and then into the workforce here locally. That's really what I want to do. So I plan on staying here, man. I'm going to ride it out. I'm a California kid.
I'll be here.
I'm here, man.
California till I die. We ain't going nowhere. My kids go to school. They park here.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So
operations of the organization, you come there.
Bro,
I ain't going nowhere.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? So I would like to create an ecosystem where we don't just become because what's happened for so long in biotech in this town has been that we have been the krill for the New Jersey and the Eastern behemoths like Pfizer and Johnson & Novartis and all. Then they come here sniffing and looking, and they buy stuff up and take it and go. So we don't have our own homegrown kind of commercial stage organizations that are able to take it off the bench to the bedside and then to the shelf. And so I'd like to see that mature and us to be able to create opportunities where kids don't have to leave town to go get the jobs, like the real jobs, but can stay here, be involved like you and I are involved, and then turn right back around and start talking to, folks and create a real ecosystem of that kind of achievement. So, man, I feel like I want to introduce you to people and do something, but you are grinding. We didn't get to talk about the parents thing either.
Have you checked out Boss Parents?
I've only glimpsed I haven't looked. I see you all out there pushing strollers, and I saw some article where you all have been in or something.
Oh yeah, about man.
It's a beautiful thing. Please leverage that experience. It's a beautiful thing. People need help, man. You know, and in this town too. So my wife and I, now we're totally off topic now. I'm just gonna talk to you for a minute. So we started a church. So man, I got all sorts of things here. In 2012, in May of 2012, now I'm literally coming off the recording now. All right, thank you for being with us. We'll edit this out and make it all nice. I'm stopping the recording so we can just talk.